Good afternoon. So, the following information was drawn from the introduction to the principal aspects of the path by Geshe Sonam Rinpoche and Ruth Sonam. And some data I also took from the introduction to the English translation of the Larim Shema. So this year marks the 600th anniversary of the Tsongkhapa's parinirvana, and there are commemorations taking place throughout the world. So I wanted to talk a little bit about his life and his significance to Tibetan Buddhism. Lama Tsongkhapa was born in 1357 in Amdo province, which is in northeast Tibet. At the age of 7, he left his family to study with Master Choyi Dundrop Rinpoche, who gave him many teachings and tantric empowerments. When he was 8 years old, he received novice ordination and was given the name Losandrapa. From an early age, he studied diligently and practiced well. In his late teens, he studied the wisdom sutras, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, and Maitreya's treatises, along with many commentaries. By his early 20s, he was already well versed in the path. His intention was, and his determination was, to combine extensive scriptural knowledge with practice of both sutra and tantra, which he accomplished. And he received empowerments from masters of different traditions. At the age of 33, he had a very fortuitous encounter with Lama Umapa, who as a cowherd had a vision of Manjushri that completely changed his life. So when they met, they immediately formed a deep connection. And Lama Tsongkhapa was able to communicate, would communicate with Manjushri through Lama Umapa. He would ask questions and would receive answers to those questions, as well as teachings and explanations. So this was a very important relationship for Lama Tsongkhapa. He continued on studying, and during the winter of 1392 to 1393, following Manjushri's advice, Lama Tsongkhapa and 8 of his students began an intense period of meditation. They undertook practices of purification and accumulation of merit. And it is said that Lama Tsongkhapa performed 3,500,000 prostrations, along with 10 million mandala offerings. So he was very diligent in his practice and very dedicated to really understanding the nature of reality. After several years of retreat, his efforts bore fruit in the form of a dream where he found himself in the midst of a discussion on the nature of reality by the great Indian masters, including Buddhapalita. Then he saw in the dream Buddhapalita rising, coming to him and touching a book to his head, which was a form of a blessing. After he woke up from that dream, Lama Tsongkhapa then went back to the book that he was studying, opened the book up in the place that he had left off, and had an immediate experience of insight into the nature of reality. So, but in order to do that, of course, he spent a lot of time doing the prostrations, the purifications, the merit building, intense meditation for several years. So, and of course, he was also quite auspicious to have the dream and to have the blessing of both Manjushri and Buddhapalita. Among his many contributions, there are 4 that are considered extraordinary. The first one was the renovation of the statue of Maitreya and the great festival that was organized for the Tibetan New Year in 1400. This was a festival that he himself organized at the temple where the statue was located. And he organized and gave extensive teachings on the monastic discipline, which extended over several months, thereby revitalizing monasticism in Tibet, which had undergone some deterioration. And it is said that even though Lama Tsongkhapa was well qualified to practice the completion stage of Tantra, he did not do that in his lifetime because it would have given monastics the wrong impression, and he preferred to keep his vows of a monastic and to attain enlightenment in his in the Barda. The third great deed was establishing the Great Prayer Festival in Lhasa, beginning a new tradition at the time that continued into modern days. And then lastly, the construction of Ganden Monastery near Lhasa. The monastery was completed and consecrated in 1410. Afterwards, he also supervised and provided different statues and mandalas to be housed at the monastery. And these were destroyed after the Chinese takeover in 1959. Lama Tsongkhapa wrote extensively on topics related to both Sutra and Tantra. And we are very fortunate today to have an English translation of his Lam Rinpoche Mo, as well as the foundation of all good qualities and the three principal aspects of the path. So today, let's take a few moments to connect with Lama Tsongkhapa, celebrate his accomplishments, and generate gratitude for his legacy.